Small World Vacations is proud to sponsor today's podcast. Their team of 40 agents are authorized Disney vacation planners and are recommended by MouseSavers.com. They're dedicated to your dreams and your dollars. Get your free price quote at www.vacations.com. Small World Vacations, where the magic begins.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, August 6th, 2007, and this is episode 292 of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of MGMstudios.org. It's MGMstudios.org. On the show today is Mike Scopa of MousePlanet.com and All Ears Net. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, Matt, did I mention that I'm a fully qualified time travel pilot? I studied at MITT, the Metropolis Institute of Time Travel.
That would be the timekeeper. The timekeeper, as overheard on the TTA.
Was that Nine Eyes who said that?
I want to say so. It's one of those. I've actually seen it in person, but it's one of those attractions I've heard about 1,000 times on Mouse World Radio.
Well, we're gonna have to listen to it next time.
Yeah, exactly. So on today's show, we're talking about attractions that have chicken exits. And really what a chicken exit is, if you're not familiar with the term, it's a term for ways to go see attractions but not actually ride them. And they're built in there they're first really put in there for people who kind of got on the line and then decided, I really made a bad decision and I don't want to ride anymore. But what we're really talking about here is really it's for people to be able to enjoy a lot of these attractions that they may be too apprehensive to ride, whether they're afraid of different things or what have you. Perhaps you don't like roller coasters, or you don't like the free falling sensation on some rides, or perhaps you're afraid of dinosaurs.
No, who would be afraid of dinosaurs?
That's a childish thing to do. I mean, jeez.
Hydrolat is, for that matter.
Yeah, come on. So if that's the case, certainly we're trying to help that we can. First, you can enjoy a lot of these attractions, but not actually ride them if that's the case. And we'll start off with the park that's near and dear to my heart, Animal Kingdom. And first attraction that comes to mind in Animal Kingdom is, of course, Expedition Everest. And this one has, Mike, you've seen it in person. The queue line over there is really well themed.
Yeah, actually, it's almost better to go in the standby line than to go through for the fast pass, because you miss a lot of the Imagineering that went into the development of the queue line. So it's true what you say, and I think that what's been going on over the last 5, maybe as long as the last 10 years, is that the Imagineers who are developing these attractions realize that not everyone will be going through every attraction. So they want to make sure that that there are things in the attraction, at least in the queue and maybe in the pre-shows, that everyone can enjoy, so that there's something for everyone. But you're right about Expedition Everest. The standby line is much more entertaining than the fast pass line.
Yeah, absolutely. And for Everest, what you're going to do, I think a majority of these attractions, really when you get to the point where you can opt out of the attraction is when you get to the point where the cast member asks for how many people are in your party. And in most cases, it's right at the loading part. In that case, then you'll say, I don't want to ride, or the two of us are riding, but so-and-so isn't riding.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I left my horse parked in a safety zone or something like
that. That's an often used line right there, of course. So on Everest, it's right at the loading gate over there. Instead of going on the ride, you'll actually walk down the platform down to the gift shop, and you can wait for your party over there. And Everest has a really nice queue that you definitely don't want to miss, even if you're not going to be riding. What other attractions at Animal Kingdom, Mike, have a really notable chicken exit?
As far as a chicken exit goes, I think that I'm going to just turn that around a little bit and say that there is one attraction that I think parents should be aware of, and that's Fun to be a Bug, and that there are some very scary moments in that attraction for young children. So what I'm suggesting is that, like you said, Matt, it's sort of a chicken exit, but not a chicken exit. What you should do is as you enter the the attraction, the theater, what you want to do is you want to be on the leftmost door, because that enters into the last two rows. And what you want to do is you want to be able to sit up in one of the last two rows towards the far end, so that if it gets too bad, you can leave without a problem. And what you need to do also is mention to a cast member as you're going in there that, you may want to leave early because you're not too sure if your child is going to be able to handle it. So that's the only other one that I can think of in the animal kingdom where I would say there's sort of a chicken exit, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what about dinosaur?
Not that I would know where it is or anything. It's right over there. But the best place for dinosaur is when you get to the loading area and you go down those stairs over there. There's a chicken exit right over there, so you can go through the pre-show and see the video. Although some of them, Everest is one that I would say that you should go through it. I mean, some attractions dinosaurs are one of them. When we talk in Epcot, I think that's the next part we can talk about. There are other attractions where I don't think it's even worth going through the queue line. The only reason it would be worth it is certainly you don't have to wait by yourself. You know what I mean? You can go, you can wait with your party, and then that means really the only time you're really waiting by yourself is minimal. It's the time they have to actually get to ride, and that's usually 5 minutes or so.
That's a good point.
So that's really another good point. It's a good reason to stay with them, but. In some cases, I would rather probably wait in the gift shop than actually have to go on them. And one of them that really comes to mind besides Dinosaur is Test Track. When we move over to Epcot, Test Track, the chicken exit really is that when you get to the point where you're getting in the vehicle, you just don't sit down. You walk over the vehicle and you walk across to the other platform and then exit over there. And that's what you'll have to tell the cast member, obviously, because there'll be obviously too many people in the ride vehicle otherwise. And
right.
But in that case, I don't know if it's maybe I've seen too many times. I just don't enjoy that video at all. That one and the other one is Mission Space. It's at the point of nausea to see them. It's like, oh my god, I just don't care anymore. I just want to get on the ride vehicle. So I'm not sure if it's just me or I don't know. But certainly both attractions have chicken exits over there. With Mission Space, they give you not only. This is probably one of the most advertised chicken exits around, because in this one, they say if you're feeling faint of heart or something like that, tell a cast member now, and we'll sign you up for mission control. And in those, they just bring you around to the down where the games are, and eventually to a gift shop, of course. What other? We mentioned Test Track, Mission Space. What are some other? Are there any other attractions in Epcot that you can think of, Mike, that have notable chicken exits?
Again, it's similar to what I had mentioned. Fun to be a Bug is the Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. The same applies to go into the leftmost door to the theater, and sitting in one of the last two rows to make sure that you have an easy egress to take care of your child if your child has a problem. Other than that, Matt, I'm trying to think if there are any other attractions that would require.
The only other one that has it's not really a chicken exit, it's a smart person exit, and that's in Norway, the film. You just run through it and not get trapped over there.
Yeah.
Because that's just, you're in trouble if you get stuck over there. So you're doing yourself a favor by taking that chicken exit.
Yep. I agree. Why don't we move on to MGM?
Going to the studio? Sure, why not? I mean, not that I partake in that park too much.
And this is the park that really inspired this topic, Matt, because you and I talked about this, and one of the things that I really regret people not seeing when they go to the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror is that they don't experience what everybody experiences in the library. I think that's a very, very key point in the attraction. It really sets up the premise for the attraction. It sets up the storyline, and I think the effects are just outstanding. And I really hate to see people miss that. And I think that people should be aware that they can see that, and they can go through the boiler room, and then just before the elevators, they can take the chicken exit. But do you agree?
Oh, absolutely, Mike. Tower of Terror, I mean, we mentioned Expedition Everest. I'm going to put Tower of Terror 1A,
1B?
Yeah, one step right above it in terms of the best queue in all Walt Disney World. And even if you hate the attraction, never want to ride it, that's fine. Definitely go through the chicken exit, because it is amazing the amount of theme, the attention to detail, and everything that goes into that, really, because it's just so well themed. It is so worth your time, and if you do one chicken exit, if you waste your time, go through it, that's the one to do it. And I agree with you, Mike. That one, and sort of Expedition Everest, that probably the 1A, 1B. The other one that has a really good is a Rock and Roller Coaster. Although before I mention that, I should mention that on Tower of Terror, even if you do the chicken exit, you actually still take an elevator. Although this one is not as fun. This is just a regular old elevator.
And you stand up in this one.
Yeah, exactly. Rock and Roller Coaster is the other one I wanted to mention. And this one, again, the pre-show is really funny. It's cool. I think it's definitely worth seeing. And again, right when you get to the point where where they ask how many in your party, then you'll go right down. There's a door over there that you'll walk through, and instead you'll just go right down to where the unload for a coaster is, and right by the gift shop. You have another one, Scopa?
Well, I wasn't thinking of this one a couple minutes ago, but it just popped into my head, and I think that Star Tours could probably be another one that
Yep.
people need to consider. A lot of people may not be too sure as to what the attraction is, and that's a key issue here, and that is that people who are going to Walt Disney World for the first time may not know what to expect. They may not have done any research. They may not have read any books. They may not have gone to any websites. They may not have listened to any podcasts, but and so they're not sure. So they may know that Star Tours is a simulation ride. It involves hydraulics and things like that, and they may not be sure about it. Now, one of the things though is that the queue line that goes up to the loading area is filled with all kinds of interesting sights and sounds and stuff, and everyone should be aware that that's a really neat thing to see. And then when you get to the top of the ramp, and just before you get into the loading dock, you can say to the cast member, I have changed my mind. I don't want to leave a protein spill or whatever, and could you show me the exit? But that's one that I just thought of just now.
I'll give you one better than that, Mike. If on Star Tours, if you're feeling apprehensive about it and you're not interested in it, you can actually still do the ride without the simulator moving. It's called a test flight. And what you can do is you tell the cast member, I'd like to do a test flight, and if they look at you, some of them don't even know what the term is because, I don't even know what they call them that anymore, but say, the ride where it doesn't move. And what they'll do is they'll actually put you on the attraction, and the attraction won't move. All you do is you see the movie, you'll hear all the sounds, all the sound effects, but nothing moves. I did it once just to see what it's like. It's very boring to me because, nothing's moving, but it's an option out there. And they usually, it's available as long as they're not like really busy. They can always do that. So you can do that as an option, and certainly if you're feeling apprehensive or maybe you have someone in your party that doesn't want to do it but you still want to experience the attraction, that's a great option right there.
Yeah, I think that that there are a lot of these options that people don't realize that they're out there. And besides the chicken exits on the thrill rides, there are also other attractions that, if you have to leave prematurely, then you can. I can remember my wife and I were waiting in line for the Great Movie Ride, and obviously that's not going to scare anybody, but we were in the pre-show area where they show all those clips of the movies, and I remember saying to her that, we have an ADR at, let's say, Hollywood and Vine in 5 minutes, and I don't think we're going to make it. So, you ask the cast member, and he'll just open up a door somewhere and let you out. And I think that everyone should be aware that you don't have to go through the entire attraction. If you have a time crunch, if you are late for a reservation or whatever, just find a cast member, and I'm sure they'll be more than willing to escort you out a secret exit. So
yeah, I mean, obviously the shows, I've done this in the past. I was at Muppets one time, and I looked at my watch and said, wow, it's kind of a long movie. And relatively speaking, at least. And I looked at it and I said I had to go. So, I just went over to the doors and pushed them open, and they open. Obviously, it's mostly for, in case of a screaming baby or something like that. But, it's certainly an option. You have to be aware that you can exit really at almost at any point. Certainly you don't want to do it on some ride vehicles. I mean, you can, but that would really only be in case of emergency.
Screaming baby, huh? You mean people actually will take babies to Walt Disney World after what I've said?
I know. You got to listen to Scopa. I mean, it's like it's one of the 10 Commandments. It was one. It was on that third tablet, right, Mike?
It was on that last verse of Walt Disney World Today song. Unfortunately, Scopa is right.
That's right. Going on to the Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
This one you got a lot of attractions here. What's one that comes to mind, Mike?
Oh boy, none. I would guess the first one that I would think I would be thinking about would have been. I guess I would have thought Space Mountain, but I can't think of an exit.
I think the Space Mountain the Space Mountain chicken exit is the fast pass line. You know, you just have to exit back and do the walk of shame.
Okay. Okay. The other one would have been, well, I guess a couple of years ago I would have thought Extraterrestrial Encounter,
yep.
Which is now Stitch's Great Escape. I don't know if there's an exit after the 2 pre-show areas.
I think you'd have to walk through the attraction and go to the back doors over there.
That empties out into the gift shop.
Yeah. No, does that empty? Does it?
Oh yeah, it empties.
I haven't been on there such a long time.
You haven't missed anything. Yeah, it empties out into the gift shop. So, yeah, so you just walk out with the people who were in the attraction before you.
Yeah.
And just keep going because the pre-show's okay. You know,
it's a good example of an attraction you probably want to wait with your party rather than wait outside. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I can't think of any other attraction that has Big Thunder. There is no. I mean, you go up and you wait and you ride Big Thunder. I can't think of a.
Yeah, you'd have to. This would be just like we were talking about Test Track. You'd have to walk over the vehicle and get on the opposite platform.
Yeah.
There may be one. I'm not sure. You would. I mean, you can't even do the walk of shame back through the Fast Pass line because the Fast Pass line dies about halfway through the queue line.
Walk of shame.
Yeah.
What about Haunted Mansion?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. You know where it is? When you're walking on that moving platform, there's an exit door to your left. I think it's...
Oh, okay.
The other one that has a really prominent one is Splash Mountain. You know, there's that sign, you know, this will get you really wet, and right before the load platform, there's stairs that go over the, to your left, that go over the flume path, and it'll bring you right over there. So that's one that you could do. That'd be a great option over there. And that one's really advertised. Because again, people don't realize how wet you get on this, and then of course they get all upset. Oh, I can't believe I got wet on Splash Mountain. Not that the name would, you know, infer that you get wet on it or anything like that.
What does the word splash mean?
Yeah, exactly. Any other attractions in the Magic Kingdom?
Let's see. Is there? If there's one that I think should have a chicken exit, it should be the teacups. That's for sure.
I tried that unrelated. I rode that with Josh and Sarah, the venerable touringplan.com research folks, slaves as Len calls them, and you know, it's not as bad as I remembered. I really didn't get sick on it. I was spinning it, and I did not have a protein spill in the bushes over there. So I don't know. I guess maybe I've finally grown up. Maybe, of course, well, I still can't ride dinosaur, but you know, baby steps.
Baby steps. We'll get you there.
Yeah. Right.
Can't think of any others.
No, I think that covers the gamut of it. And of course, every attraction has a chicken exit. Like Mike said, you can always exit anywhere, but certainly on most attractions, it's more advertised than on other ones. And it's just because, you know, how frequency. I mean, how likely you are going. You know, people are going to be asking, because most people aren't going to ask on, you know, little kiddie rides about, you know, about getting off on, you know, Peter Pan or something like that. But,
right.
You know, so you just have to. You can always ask. There's nothing wrong with asking if you change your mind. Always just ask the cast member, "Hey, I changed my mind. I don't really want to ride this anymore." And there's usually an exit somewhere that'll let you go back out.
That's right.
Well, that's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. You can also email us your questions at questions@wdwtoday.com. For Mike Scopa, Len Testa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Small World Vacations is proud to sponsor today's podcast. Their team of 40 agents are authorized Disney vacation planners and are recommended by MouseSavers.com. They're dedicated to your dreams and your dollars. Get your free price quote at WDWVacations.com. Small World Vacations, where the magic begins.